Okay, so today we're on Madden 26 in the franchise mode. What we have done is we have imported quite a few of the created teams that you can import. What I'd like to show you all is just kind of how I set up my roster with this video. That's what this video is going to be about. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I like to build a team. My philosophy has always been and will always be establish the run. Hence why we have this guy. See, some of those created teams, they come with created rosters. And what I did for this franchise is we decided that we would have a fantasy draft. And so he was my first pick, actually. Normally, I wouldn't take a running back with my very first pick just because of how disposable the position can be at times. A running back, if you're lucky, and truthfully in the NFL, probably has about 6 years. He was 23 or 24 at the time of the fantasy draft, so we seen his stats and, you know, decided that he'd be the best pick for that pick. So I'll just give you a rundown of my whole roster and why things are the way that they are on here. So we took Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback because we knew that in the following draft we'd take this man right here, Haynes King, out of Georgia Tech. He is going to mesh very well with the style of offense that we play. Like we said, run first. But Aaron Rodgers is very serviceable for a starter, good bridge quarterback. We did win a Super Bowl with him in our last season. This is the second season into this franchise, and yeah, I think he had a 5 or 6 touchdown game in that Super Bowl. He did throw a pick, but no matter, we still walked away as the clear winner. But yeah, we spent our first round pick on Georgia Tech's Haynes King because that kid right there, he's got it all. He's got it all. He needs a little bit of development as far as accuracy and stuff like that, ball placement, but we can do that. As I showed you earlier, we got us a running back, and we also drafted Jamal Haynes. This guy's an 82 overall, but um, I feel like for where he's at as far as age, we're not gonna really primarily use him as our spellback. That's what Jamal Haynes will do. He's a little bit more shifty than Cam Cox here. Cam Cox, 6'1", 241 pounds, got really good speed, run you over and juke you. Jamal Haynes, he'll be our spellback as I said earlier, and he's good coming out of the backfield on a screen, stuff like that. We handle the ball here and there. Um, we do like, unlike most NFL teams now, having a fullback on the roster because we do run I formation primarily. That is our primary formation, and I know that is unheard of in today's landscape of not only the NFL but even at the college level. You don't really see the I formation, let alone a fullback. I'd like to see this come back. I remember watching guys like Mike Allstott for the Buccaneers. You hand the big man the football, and he just runs over 3 or 4 people for, however many yards he's going to get. And, it's hard to tackle this man. And what he was a free agent, undrafted rookie. He was actually a tight end, which, kind of makes sense with the weight. But to me, he's not tall enough to be a tight end. But this is the perfect build for the kind of fullback I would like. Obviously, he's got good speed for a fullback. An 88 overall, good acceleration, straight, 75 carry 64. The awareness, you see that? That's 56. That's why his overall is so low. That will develop in time. Also, the more you use him, the more you score touchdowns with him, will give him, skill points and XP towards developing him. But I feel like this is going to work. For our receiving room, we got one of those created guys. He's good, fairly average, 26, 83 overall. We did re-sign him. He's going to be our number one. We do have Keon Coleman. He'll be our number three, actually. And we drafted Deuce Robinson out of Florida State. The reason we drafted him, if you look at his height and his weight, he's 6'6", 223 pounds, and pretty good speed for that size. So we're going to develop him. He'll be a guy we could just kind of throw the ball up in the air, and he'll come down with it. We wanted him to win those battles. That's why we drafted him. Also, we have Danny Gray. He's going to be our slot receiver and our gadget player because he's just got good physical intangibles and really good speed. So sometimes we'll send him out deep, to try and catch a ball. He caught one in the season opener and got a touchdown. But we'll hand the ball off to him as well outside of the I formation. So we've got kind of this four-headed, five-headed monster when it comes to the run game. And, I don't hesitate to put a receiver at running back here and there. Sometimes I'll draft a receiver based off of his speed. If he runs like a 4.24 in the draft or something, and put him at running back. They're a little more prone to fumbling. They're smaller, but man, if they get past that first and second level, they're gone. You're not going to catch them. No one on the defense is really that fast. For tight end, we have Kyle Pitts. I am an Atlanta Falcons fan. I do not think that Atlanta will re-sign him, but the reason that they drafted him was because he's a flyer tight end. You can send him straight down the field and just throw the ball up there. He's got really good speed, good size for a tight end. And I wish Atlanta would have done more things like that with him. I mean, that's why you drafted the kid. He had a really good rookie season, got injured in his next season. Then the following season, it still looked like he was kind of hurt, and his production was down. And then, the following season after that, it was all right. And then this season, he had a pretty good season. For us last year, he was our primary receiving target. Did fairly well. For our line, is a big, big, big point of emphasis because, like I said, we like to establish the ground game. And the best way to do that is to win the trenches. Have a good offensive line. To me, in real life, uh, the offensive and the defensive line not only set the tone for how your defense or offense is going to play, but that's where the game is won. Offense, you establish the run, and in the pass game, you protect your quarterback, which is crucial. In the defense, I mean, I like to have a guy that'll eat up space and some guys on the edge who can create pressure. That's why I say that the line is very important. But here's our line, what they're looking like. On the left side, which is what we primarily run to, that's where a lot of our offensive line strength will be. But we could run to any side. As far as our edge, we have Durant Armstrong. I'm not too familiar with him, but we did make a trade to get Atlanta's James Pierce Jr. You can see 6'5", 245 pounds. Seems kind of skinny for an edge, but he's kind of a Swiss Army knife on the defense. We don't drop him back into coverage too much, but he plays well in the run and gets to the quarterback. I mean, he's good at that. For our middle, we like Aaron Allen. We do. We'd like for them to be a little heavier. I'd really like a defensive tackle or a nose tackle to be about 330 pounds, but as long as they're at least 300 pounds, I can work with them. I mean, if you come down here and you look at this guy, Xavier King, he's a little closer to what we look for as far as physicality. 6'3", 324, and then we got Jordan Jefferson down there at the bottom. We don't use him very much. You go to our linebacking core. This is another point of emphasis for our defense because having fast linebackers who can hit will stop the run, and you can create pressure with them. You see this guy 6'3", 250, got good speed. He's a Sam. It's an outside linebacker. This guy, Kevin Stillwell, he's right in the middle. For some reason, when you get those created rosters put on here, they got some speed on him. You see he's got a 99 speed. That's unheard of for a middle linebacker, especially one at 6'4", 260 pounds almost. And he is a headhunter. Every game he seems to be making plays in the backfield. So we like that. We got this undrafted rookie, PJ Short. He's a bit smaller than what we typically go for, but he doesn't see the field very often because of the defensive scheme we run. We like a 4-2-5 defense a lot of times, and we will play your standard 4-3 and your 3-4s. We'll do that. I guess you could say we're a multiple defense. Cornerback, I would like to improve this position. We took a chance on this guy Christian Gray out of Notre Dame, mainly because of his age. We feel like we can develop him into something that will be great. 90 speed, 92 for Benjamin Morrison. We would rather have 94, 95 rated speed cornerbacks, to just basically clamp down on any speedsters that the offense may have. But moving on to our safeties, this guy, another created character from those rosters we downloaded. 99 speed. Matt Jimenez, however you say it. It looks like a Spanish name to me. I'm not sure. But he had a pick six in our Super Bowl last year, so that was good. Good speed, can cover anything over the top. And we have Maddox Schultz, young guy, bit smaller of a frame, 6 foot. I'd like for my safeties to really be about the height's good, maybe about 210, 215 as far as weight. But that's the rundown of our roster. And you know, in our first game, let's see if we can run back some of the stats here from that game. We'll just go to the schedule here. Look at the box score. Um, if you look, we got 321 rushing yards and only 212 passing yards. Because if you look at the player stats here in our ground game, 19 carries for our running back, and then 19 carries for the rookie Haynes King and a touchdown. He fumbled a lot though, 2 fumbles. Didn't lose either one of them, but then you go down Jamal Haynes. He got 7 carries, 31 yards, and a touchdown. And then as I said, that receiver, 2 carries, 28 yards. So in total, what you have is over 30 carries for our run team. We were grinding it out. That's the way we like to play, old school. So, all right, that's the rundown of our roster and why we construct it the way that we do. Um, I hope that people look at this video and you know maybe consider bringing the fullback back to their offense, bringing the I formation back into the offense. Everything is not pass all the time. I mean, that just seems like that's what everyone's doing right now, but I don't deem it to be very effective because, you know, I think that if you can establish the ground game, it definitely helps with the pass game. Ground game is where it's at. That grinding it out. It tires the defense out. It opens things up in the pass game because you could do play action, and that's another thing about Aaron Rodgers. He's probably one of the best play action quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, um, which made that pick a very easy decision. I hope that this video was enjoyable. I hope it was helpful. I hope it inspired you to also get back to running the football. Thank you very much for watching, and bring the I formation and fullback back into your offense. Thank you very much.